17, 18, 19 units back. And yet we start with 35. I'm halfway home. Think of it in terms of that. I think we look at too many times, we consider these things to be dollars, and you're trying to do math. How many dollars have I lost? Think of it in terms of how many units I've got in play, how many units I brought back, how many units am I chasing the next. So here we are in session 11 of Gambling 301. The math I want to talk about today is betting units. And I think it seems really simple on its face what a betting unit is. But the problem is, we look at the chips or the checks as monopoly money. And another reason why the house always wins is exactly that. Now, there's a psychological piece and there's a tactical piece to this. So we say we are completely disassociated from our money, right? You walk in the casino, you never touch your money again. Like that's what it is. And they don't do it to help you out, right? It seems like today's day and age, you put your $100 into the machine, a slot machine, and turns into credits. And when you cash out, you get a piece of paper that says how much money you're worth, right? You're not, once you put it in, they have it, right? And think about this. They've got your money. You're exchanging $100 for a bunch of credits on a slot machine. You're exchanging $100 for checks at a craps or a blackjack table. You're exchanging $100 for chips at a roulette table. You're disassociated from it. Now, why? There's a lot of reasons for it, right? Mechanically speaking, chips are easier to deal with, right? They fit in your pocket. The dealers can work with them easier. If they're throwing hundreds around in $25 or $20 bills around, it's harder to deal that way. It's not a tenable situation. There's opportunity for counterfeit, fraud, everything else. So the chips, they represent game security for the casino. It represents ease of processing for all of us. We're used to it. But I'm going to tell you, it's not done for you in any way, right? The fact that it becomes monopoly money to you is a downside to you because throwing it out there, right? I'll give you an example. I was doing, and by the way, I'm tipping my dealers in craps a new way now. I've got a fun new way to tip them, which is pretty cool. I was doing dealers coming all night long. Dealers coming all night long was my thing. And basically on every roll for a shooter, I played a 3-point molly for the dealers. I put a buck in the come, let it go up, put a buck in the come, let it go up. If a come bet hit, I'd make it odds on the next one. And I kept them with $3 in action all day long. Didn't have to deal with the press and collect and all that crap. It was actually pretty fun. But anyway, I'm dropping bucks out of my rack all day long, right? We're pressing. We're getting $35 on the 5. And I'm like, okay, here's a couple of bucks, make it look like a $50 bet, whatever, right? 50 for one. You're just tossing chips around and you forget that it's money. You forget that it's money. And I say this a lot, right? If you had the dollars in your hand, right? If you had a stack full of money, right? And you put 35 of your hard-earned dollars on the table and they went, cool, here's $50 back because that number hit. Are you saying, keep it? You doing that with your actual money? Probably not, but it's chips, it's monopoly money. You say, fuck it, just keep the money out there, right? That's what we do. It's a complete disconnect from your actual dollars. Don't forget that, okay? But the point of today is to talk about units and dollars. And I want to get into some basic unit math. So here's the thing. What is a unit? A betting unit. It can be anything. It's an arbitrary thing for us to think about here, okay? A unit could be considered table minimum, okay? At a $10 table, let's say a unit size could be seen as $10, okay? If you're going to press me a unit to a craps dealer, they're going to press you by $10 in that situation, right? If you're at a blackjack table or baccarat, you're doing your own pressing, you're probably pressing by a full unit. Okay. A unit could be a part of table min, right? So let's say that you're looking at units as always a red chip, always $5. So you bet a quarter, a 1 unit bet to you. That's a 5 unit bet in your world. 1 unit is one nickel. You've got to decide what a unit means to you. If you're buying in for $500, you're going to say my unit size is 100 units, $100 $5 units. And in that case, your bets are made in, I'm going to bet 2 units across $64. I'm going to bet 1 unit a press when we win. So I'm in blackjack and I got a $10 bet. It's 2 unit bet. When it wins, I'm going to up my bet by 1 unit. Okay. Think about units being arbitrary to you. It's chip color, it's your bet spread. You've got to consider what portion of your bankroll a unit's going to be. Okay. It could be 100 to 1, right? 100 units in bankroll. If you think of it that way, that makes everything a little bit more tenable and more easy to manage for you. Okay. But always remember to convert your strategies to dollars. Even though you are betting units, a dollar is a unit which converts into chips or checks and unit size relative to your bankroll. Get used to multiplying and dividing by 5, 10, and 25 to make things easy and even for you. Okay. Um, Definitionally, chips, we call everything chips. Chips are only used in roulette. They have no monetary value. A chip is just a representation of a different dollar amount for each player. So I can buy in for $100 in roulette and say my chips are worth a quarter, 25 cents. You can buy in for $100 and my chips are worth $1. We both have, you have blues and I've got yellows. It doesn't matter. They're worth whatever we say they're worth. Okay. There's no, you can't go to the cage with those chips and turn them in. You have to, at the roulette table itself, they will color you up, take your chips and turn them into checks. And checks spelled that way can be exchanged for money. They are the currency of the casino. It's what we get. That's the monopoly money. We gamble with checks. Again, there's game security for that, right? They can't be faked. Again, there's no counterfeit checks because they've now got microchips inside of them and RFIDs. If you ever watch some of these, I love, by the way, gambling cheater shows on YouTube and Netflix are fantastic, right? There's a guy who was, I think, was a construction worker, and he lived in Vegas, and he actually built a way to create fake checks. Like he went to casinos, took all their checks home. He had paints. He made paint to match. He hand painted all these chips, and they would go into the casino and they would buy in to a table for $500 and they would put their own fake checks into the game, play with that and lose a bet and whatever else, and kind of basically launder the money through fake checks. Now you can't do that because they have RFIDs. When you go to the cage now, every single check has an RFID. Even the dollars now are going to start having that. I think from 25 up they do for sure, but the 5s and 1s will, where they can run them over and there's a sensor in the table. What you don't know about casino security, there's magnetic sensors now in the tables, just like your phone. Your phone has the mag thing in the back, right? That you can like kind of put your phone and charge it. In any like my desk has got a little magnet in it that I can charge my phone just sitting on my desk, which is pretty cool. At a casino, they've got that where the cashier's cages are, so they can actually take the chips and sort of run them over, and it'll light up with the legit chip on it. You can't cheat anymore, which is kind of cool. So there's game security built there, but checks are currency. Chips are not. And I think a lot of times we get that kind of confused when we think about it. So what I want to get into today, though, really is this idea of unit math and scaling things up and down. And I don't want to oversimplify it, but really it's a matter of multiplying by 5, 10, 100, or whatever. Okay. And everything starts to repeat at the $100 level. As I've been learning how to deal, you get kind of like, oh my God, these numbers are getting so big, huge ass bets. It's all the same. Ultimately, everything is the same. It's just zeros on the end or not really. And when you scale up and down, and we'll talk more about some of this stuff tomorrow, but think about a strategy that you see somebody do, and they got, like me, I'm doing my daily paycheck, $5,000 bankroll. I'm betting $750 across or $650 across. You're going, oh my God, it's so much money, right? How do we normalize that? Well, you divide it by 10, whack off the zero, and you're playing at a human level, right? Add zeros, and you're playing at the superhuman level. So when you see somebody on YouTube going with some strategy that's way up here, and you go, man, I can't play that. You're a crazy person, right? And I see in the comments all the time, how do I scale this down? Well, you divide by 10. Like, it's not hard to scale things back. So I'm going to go to my table here, and we're going to look at how to scale things down, scale things up, and show you how to where things repeat so you can see it, okay? Your units are also important because you want to know what a unit is for you and how you press in multiples of that unit. Again, if you're at a $25 table, but your unit is $5, you got to go into that thing knowing I am betting 5 units at base. I'm pressing by 1 unit, by one $5 unit. If your unit size is $25 and your presses are $25 inside, and you also want to know, pardon me, what your total spread is. So if you're going to do like a chase, some kind of a loss chaser, if that's going to be the way that you play, you got to know what your unit sizes are to know how much loss you got to chase in the end of it. So um, let's do it. Let's go to the table and let's do a little bit of unit math, a little bit of simplistic play, and give you an idea what I mean by scaling things up and scaling things backwards. And then we'll talk again here about goals and units. Let's go over to the table. All right. Let's do a little unit pressing type of thing. And I'm gonna get out here and we're gonna go 64 across. All right. I'm gonna do a couple of things here about the units that I want to get through. So 64 across, and we'll do first a look at pressing. Okay. And again, what is your unit size here? It's a $10 table. So and again, if you bought them for $500 and you're at 64 across, let's take these out of here for right now. We bought them for 500, we're 64 across. What is a unit size to you? Probably $5. You had 100 $5 units to get out here with. Now and we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 of them in play. Okay, so if I bought in for 500 and I've got 64 out here, that would be $36 coming back. Okay, I've got at risk from my 100 $5 units, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 of them at risk right now. So think about it in that terms, okay? When I look at unit size betting, you also think about units in terms of not just what your core spread is going to be, but also in terms of the confidence level of your bets. We look at like sports betting, for example. Guys will say that's a 1 unit play or it's a 5 unit play. It's because their confidence level in the bet winning, right? On the craps table, your confidence level should be higher here than here. It's why oftentimes you'll see this. You'll often see people doing 24, 6, and 8. More units, 4 units where you think you have a better chance to win. 3 units on the 5 and 9 where you have a good chance but a lesser chance to win. 2 units out here where you have the least chance to win. This sort of pyramid betting strategy, right, puts more units where you have a higher degree of confidence of winning a bet. So that's also a way to consider the way that you use your units from your rack. And again, 2, 4, 6, 8, plus the extra one makes 10 units, plus 2 in here. So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 units in play now. But again, we're putting more units where we think we have better action. You go, oh my God, I can't do that. I can't go 24, 48, plus 30, 78, plus 20, $98. I'm not doing $98 across. I'm not made of money over here, right? Okay, what do you do in that case? You play bubble craps and you divide it all down. A dollar, right? $2 each here, $4 each here. You can scale that thing back by taking the zeros off. So think about your units in terms of not only how many there are, right, based on table minimums, but also they can represent your confidence in the bet, okay? We see this a lot, right? The point is 4. Let's say you're a dark side player and you got $25 in the don't pass, okay? Your confidence in that bet might be like, yeah, I'm confident that bet's going to win. I'm going to drop the full, max odds, right? 6x the flat. I'm highly confident in that bet winning. If the point is 6, you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm not all that confident in that one, right? I'm going to put a little bit less odds out here because I'm a little bit less confident in that. Your number of units relative to your confidence in winning the bet, probabilities aside, your confidence in it is where that money can go. All right, let's take a look here at some pressing. Okay, let's go back to the base. We'll go back to 64. We'll go like normal human. Everybody in the world plays 64 across, and here we go. Okay, when you are pressing your bets or collecting your bets, think about it again in times of units. If I'm out here and I'm considering these bets to be 2-unit bets, right? I have $500. I've got 100 $5 units. I want to hit the 9 for $14. It's a 1-unit press. Press by 1 unit, which means one of my units, a nickel. In craps. Once your dealer knows what your unit size is, press by unit becomes obvious. You can bring back a little bit of cash, okay? If you say full press, they'll double your bet. It's a 2-unit press. And again, you make that kind of press based on your confidence in winning it again, right? 1-unit bet gives you a little bit more power. Take some money back for yourself. In fact, you're taking back your bet, okay? In a bet that pays 14 bucks, a 1 unit press, bringing back 9 effectively gets you out of that bet. You have $15 out here, you got your money back in the rack, you've actually recovered almost the entire bet. Not a bad move to make when you're betting a 2 unit starting point and you're winning 1.5 to 1, like we're doing in here. Not a bad move. Consider what you're getting paid on your units. On a flat bet situation like the don't pass, or let's just use the field. Let's say you're in the field for 2 units and you win 2 units. You press by a unit, bring 1 unit back, you're halfway out of that bet. If it hits the second time for 3 units and you again press by 1 of your units and bring this back, now you've got your initial bet plus a little bit of profit play. Okay, so think about the size of your core unit, that would be your pressing amount. And by the same token, you got to look at your units and say, well, what happens if I lose? If I'm going to be a loss chase person, you got to think about that as well, right? How are you going to fix it when you inevitably get beat? Okay, 7 rolls, you lose 64 bucks. Okay, actually, let's do this. Let's actually pretend. Let's say we got the 9 to hit. We'll do 15 for 1. Okay, now we said we were out there for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 units. And I just brought back a 1.5 units, which means we're out there for how many units now? We're out there for not 12, but 10.5 units are what's at risk because we brought back a 1.5 units. Let's say the 5 hits, same thing, 15 for 1. Okay. Now we have 3 units back in a rack. We have 3, 6, or 2, 4, 6 units back. We're out for 12. So in your mind, you've got to remember, I was risking 12. I've recovered 6, 2, 4, 6. I have 6 units at risk. If I burn here, what am I chasing on the next one? I'm chasing 6 units. So try and remember that count. And I actually do this a lot in my rack where I'll keep, when I'm pulling off the table, I'm keeping track here of what number of units I've got recovered. So my next moves become more obvious to me. And again, I think the unit math is kind of where that comes from. Okay. So think about single unit pressing, double unit pressing. You can hammer press it if you want to. And if you lose in this situation, your decision then becomes, do I go back out there at 64 across again? And now I have to win 9 units, 3 to recover what I lost, and 6 more to cover what's out there, right? 9 units is what you're chasing in that situation. How do you win 9 units as fast as possible? You go back out there at 64 bucks again, you got to win 9 times. This is why craps is so hard and why gambling is so hard, because when you lose multiple bets, like you do in craps and in roulette, to get them back, you got to recover the 1, 2, 3 that you were down from the loss, plus cover the 6 that you got out there again. That's 9. So it compounds itself how hard it is. This is where these loss systems come in, right? And so, for example, you can go out there and say, well, this time, we're going to change it. We're going to go 96. I'm going to increase every bet by 1 unit and go 96 across. Okay, let's put that out there and let's count as we go. Let's put 96 across. Now we're at how many units? We're at 3 units per bet. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 units are at risk now. 18 units at risk. We had 12 the last time. But the upshot is the bigger unit size means less number of wins that you need. For example, let's again say the 9 wins, right? That pays $21. That's 2 units. 1, 2 units back in the rack. Okay? With a dollar kicker. Let's say the 8 hits. Again, that pays the same thing. It pays $21. Well, what I do here is this. 21 bucks, cool. That is the first 6 units recovered. The first 64 bucks is back in the rack. Now I'm starting on my second recovery. And I've got 1 out of what I had out here left. Okay. If I wanted to, at this point, we can regress down to 64. And again, count your units. I'm going to bring back basically 3 units. 1, 2, 3 units back in the rack. 1, 2, 3 units back. Take the whites for good measure. 1, 2, 3, 4 units back in the rack. You follow? So I used a couple of hits to recover the previous, get myself straight up for the second one. Let's say we catch a 10 here and it pays 18 bucks, right? We'll do 20 for 2. And guess where we are? We have our money back. There's 4, 5, 6 units. We've covered the bets. And again, do this here. Make sure you're good. Now you have $64 twice in your rack. You are at bankroll neutral or 0, and you're playing. And then you're going to roll a 7 and say, well, that sucks. I'm going to start over again. But the point is, understand how many units you're down when that 7 comes. What does it take to recover? And a small progression, negative progression of your bets can accelerate how fast you get it back. So taking a couple of hits at a slightly bigger size and then coming back down again can get you back to health, right? But again, use your unit count as your key, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 units. Then we're going to go to 18 units. Then we're going to go to maybe 24 units and still take those same 2 hits and recover ourselves back, okay? But if you don't know how many units you have at risk, it's hard to make that transition for yourselves. And I want you to be aware of how to do the math on these things and understand what's out there. So we're going to talk tomorrow, I think tomorrow, about strategy building. And this kind of thing here is what we're going to get into. We're going to look at risk, unit reward, chasing loss. But until you understand that my unit today was a nickel, not $10. That's an important thing to see. And if we scale it up, you're going to go 160 across, which you can do. You might still say, you know what? I'm at 160 across, but my unit is still a nickel. Like I'm still small potatoes over here, right? I don't want to, take a $35 hit on the 9 and go, oh yeah, full unit press. My units are not quarters. This is a 5-unit bet to me, right? It's a 5-unit bet. So when it comes in, I can still do a 1-unit press and bring back the bet plus a little bit of profit on the first hit. That bet's paid for and it's increased, right? Think of it that way, and your recovery is a little quicker. You're getting some extra action out there, but you're also bringing a bet back. If it hits again, let's say the 5 hits this time, right? $35 on the 5, and again, 1-unit press, and now I brought back again 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 units in action. What's coming back? I've already got 10, 11, 12 units back out of the 35 I started with. And again, think of it in terms of that. Do your multiplication, right? 35 units to start. I've got 12 back, right? Any other hit? Same thing. Let's say the 5 pays $42, right? 1 unit up. Now I've got 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 units back. And again, we start with 35. I'm halfway home. Think of it in terms of that. I think we look at too many times, we consider these things to be dollars, and you're trying to do math. How many dollars have I lost? Think of it in terms of how many units I've got in play, how many units I brought back, how many units am I chasing the next time? All right. So there it is. There's your talk about units and confidence and everything else. I like the idea of the confidence-based betting that the sports bettors do, because that makes sense in the long term, right? More money where you think you're going to win, less money where you think you're going to lose. And guess what? That kind of works, right? But yeah, your units are, I think, an important piece of this game. I think we forget about it, right? What is a unit to you? How much are you risking as a unit level, not as a dollars and cents level? Because again, if it's $100 as a unit or $5 as a unit, doesn't matter. Count the number of units that you're down. And frankly, think about your win goal in terms of units. I need to win. If I'm betting $5 and my goal is $25, let's say I'm a tiny little win goal, right? 5-unit win goal. Think about that, right? 5-unit win goal. If you go out there 64 across and you have a 5-unit win goal, that's 2 wins, right? $14. That's actually almost 6 units in profit. You can be done, right? And think about how many hits does it take to get your unit win. And that's, I think, a piece that we tend to forget about too. How many wins do I need to achieve my goal based on the number of units, not the number of dollars? Okay, so there it is. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to leave us a comment here in the comment section for the video, but really better still, join us on Discord. Go to casinogaming.tv and hit the community link in the menu there and join our Discord. That's where me, other YouTubers, and all of our subscribers hang out. We sit there and talk strategy and just BS kind of all day long. It's a great way to get connected and stay connected and kind of interact with the team. Learn about meetups and get-togethers and all that kind of stuff. So With all that said, again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate your time. God bless you, and I will see you in the next one.